Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? Welcome. Happy Saturday. How's it going? I chose a kind of random topic today, but I found an article online that gave a short description for each horoscope sign, and I thought it had really good vocabulary. So I thought that could be a good practice for today, whether or not you identify with your zodiac sign or you know anything about astrology. So what's your zodiac sign, everyone? I am a Gemini, which maybe you can tell because I talk a lot. So that's a characteristic of a person who has an air sign. We're very talkative. If you don't know your zodiac sign, tell me your birthday and I can look it up. Okay, we have another Gemini in the house, a Cancer, an Aries, a Okay, in English. So scorpion is the name of the animal, but in English we call it Scorpio. I don't know if that's like us just borrowing is it a Latin word? But yeah, we'll call it Scorpio. Hello, we have a Libra here. Hi, Alice. Okay, a Libra. All right, we are going to read descriptions of the different horoscope signs. Are Geminis bossy? I thought we were more like fun and easygoing. Maybe you haven't seen my bossy side. We have a lot of, okay, we're going to start with Aries because Aries is like the first one on the calendar. And I want you to tell me if any of you are an Aries, say whether you agree with the description or if you know an Aries, whether you think it's right. If your birthday is January 3rd, you are a Capricorn, I believe. You're a Capricorn, which means you're kind of like an achiever, like you like to work and you're like a girl boss. Okay, so I'm going to read the description of Aries and tell me if you hear any word that you don't know. Also, you can write it in the chat. So the description of Aries. Aries, if your birthday is March 21st to April 19th, this is the first sign of the zodiac. Aries loves to be number one. Naturally, this dynamic fire sign is no stranger to competition. Bold and ambitious, Aries dives headfirst into even the most challenging situations, and they'll make sure they always come out on top. So to me, it sounds like Aries is very competitive and very ready to compete and to dive headfirst into different situations. Let me see if there's anything else I can see here about Aries. Okay, yeah. Personality traits. Your strengths are you are courageous, determined, confident, enthusiastic, optimistic, honest, and passionate. And your weaknesses, you can use this in a job interview. You're impatient, moody, which means that your mood fluctuates, short-tempered, impulsive, and aggressive. Okay, so I don't know if you identify with this. Your likes are comfortable clothes, taking on leadership roles, physical challenges, and individual sports. And your dislikes are inactivity, delays, work that does not use one's talents. So it seems like if you are in a situation that's not moving, you get very restless. You have a need for action. Let me see what you guys were saying. I'm a Gemini, but I never say that on a first date. Yeah, Geminis, we have a really bad reputation, but I think that we're just great talkers. Maybe some Geminis are bigger liars than others. Okay, so that's an Aries. The next one that we have, is anyone here a Taurus? A Taurus is the bull. So Aries was a fire sign and then Taurus is an earth sign. Again, if I say a word that you guys don't understand, write it in the chat. It's kind of like a listening exercise. Okay. Taurus, the birthday range is April 20th to May 20th. And that's an important thing to remember. Instead of 20th, it's 20th. 20th. And some people don't pronounce that T. They say 20th. 20th. Okay. We have so many Geminis here today. I feel like we all came together for the horoscope conversation. Okay. So Taurus. My husband is a Taurus, by the way. What sign is more likely to take a 6-hour bath followed by a luxurious Swedish massage and decadent dessert spread? Why, Taurus, of course. Taurus is an earth sign represented by the bull. Like their celestial spirit animal, Taurians enjoy relaxing in serene, bucolic environments surrounded by soft sounds, soothing aromas, and succulent flavors. Okay, there's a lot here. Let's look at this word bucolic. This is the word that I read here. I'm curious if anyone knows this word. I think I've seen it before. I've never read this word out loud, so I'm going to check on the pronunciation because that is normal in English. Sometimes words, it's difficult to predict what the pronunciation is. Yeah, I said it correctly. Bucolic. So bucolic is of or relating to shepherds or herdsmen. So like related to rural life or shepherds and herdsmen is bucolic. This is such a specific word, bucolic. Personally, I like talking about astrology because we can talk about our personalities. And I find that a lot of people don't feel really comfortable talking about their personality unless they're talking about astrology. So it's not normal for people to say like, yeah, I'm a very impatient person. But I think that when they say, oh yeah, I'm an Aries, that's why I'm impatient. It's like an excuse. Okay. What else can we see about Taurus? So Taurus, the personality traits that I see here are reliable. These are the strengths. So if you're in a job interview, you are reliable, patient, practical, devoted, responsible, and stable. The weaknesses, and I agree with these. I agree with the strengths and the weaknesses. The weaknesses are stubborn, possessive, uncompromising. These are good words. Stubborn, possessive, and uncompromising. Stubborn. I would say that stubborn and uncompromising are similar ideas. If you remember that to compromise with someone means to meet them halfway, like, I want sushi, I want tacos. A compromise is to say, okay, how about today we can get sushi and tomorrow we can get tacos. That's to compromise. A person who's uncompromising is like, no, we're going to have my way or the highway. A Taurus might have a my way or the highway mentality. My way or the highway. My way or the highway mentality. That means that they are uncompromising, unwilling to do another option. I'm a Gemini. My wife is Sagittarius. Oh yeah, that is a good sign combination because they're on opposite sides of the Zodiac, like twin signs or sister. I don't remember what it's called, but like sister signs or something. Yeah, do you guys know the Fergie song? Can you meet me halfway? Exactly. Apparently, Taurus likes gardening, cooking, music, romance, high quality clothes. That's true about my husband. Working with hands. Taurus dislikes sudden changes, complications, insecurity of any kind, and synthetic fabrics. That sounds really specific, and maybe not every Taurus identifies with this, but I will say that is my husband to a T. This is another good phrase that I'll put here. So that is my husband to a T. Means that it exactly represents how he is. That is him to a T. So if any of you hear one of the explanations that I'm giving and you say, wow, I really identify, you could say, that is me to a T. That is me to a T, like exactly represents me. Also, hello, welcome everyone. We are talking about zodiac signs. So what zodiac sign should I do next? I'll ask the group. What zodiac sign should I do next? We had a Capricorn, Geminis. Which zodiac sign should I pull up the explanation of? Let me see. We could just go in order because the next one is... okay, we'll go to Scorpio and then we can bounce around to any sign. Okay, so Scorpio. This is a water sign, Scorpio. And then we'll do Gemini. And then what is this? Okay, so Scorpio. Scorpio is elusive. I'm curious if everyone knows this vocabulary. Scorpio is born between October 23rd and November 21st. Scorpio is elusive and mysterious. Scorpio is one of the most misunderstood signs of the zodiac. If you're a Scorpio, do you feel misunderstood? Scorpio is a water sign that uses emotional energy as fuel, cultivating powerful wisdom through both the physical and unseen realms. In fact, Scorpio derives extraordinary courage from its psychic abilities, which is what makes this sign one of the most complicated and dynamic of the zodiac. I'm curious if anyone here is a Scorpio. Do you feel like there's a lot happening internally? Because that's what I'm gathering from this explanation, like inner turmoil. Okay, so here are the personality traits. If you are a Scorpio, your strengths are you are resourceful, you are powerful, brave, passionate, and a true friend. Okay. Your weaknesses are you are distrusting, jealous, manipulative, and violent. So those are some pretty severe weaknesses, but obviously still depends on the person. Your likes, these are the things that a Scorpio likes. You like the truth, facts, being right, talent, teasing. Teasing is like making fun of someone, and passion. Your dislikes are dishonesty, revealing secrets, superficiality, and small talk. So you like deep things. You don't like small talk. Yeah, I'm curious, how would everyone here describe a Scorpio based on this description? I would say maybe mysterious, emotionally intense based on this description. Yeah, any other thoughts about Scorpios? I'm curious if that also resonated with you at all. Okay, we have a thought about Scorpios. I always hear that Scorpios are mean. Okay. I'm curious if anyone here is a Scorpio, do you feel it's toxic? If anyone here is a Scorpio, do you feel like people think that you're mean? Like, do you come across... That's a good phrasal verb. Like, if you give people a certain idea or perception of you, we use to come across. So my question is, do you come across as mean? Do other people get that impression of you? Do you come across as mean? Yeah, Scorpios and Geminis are demonized. For sure. I was on vacation with my family and my cousin was talking about how you can never trust a Gemini man. And I was like, hey, I'm a Gemini. You have a Scorpio moon. Okay. Well, your moon is supposed to be your emotional side. So that also sounds like it could be very intense to have a Scorpio moon. Okay. We're going to go to Gemini. So Gemini. Who here is a Gemini? I'm a Gemini, and several people said that they're Geminis. I know that we get a bad reputation, but I like us. Okay. Here's the description. This is a person born between May 21st and June 20th. Remember the pronunciation here, 20th. You could say 20th, but 20th is also very common. People eat the T, 20th. Okay. Have you ever been so busy that you wished you could clone yourself to get everything done? That's the Gemini experience in a nutshell. Spontaneous, playful, and adorably erratic, Gemini is driven by insatiable curiosity. Appropriately symbolized by the celestial twins, this air sign was interested in so many pursuits that it had to double itself. You know, NBD. NBD, if you guys ever see this in texts, it means no big deal. So they just had to double themselves. No big deal. Now, there are some interesting phrases here in this text that I like. You said the clone thing. You're like, wait, this is me to a T. I always clone myself. There are a couple great phrases here. If you have insatiable curiosity, think about it this way. If you have insatiable, and the pronunciation is insatiable, insatiable curiosity means that you have curiosity that cannot be satisfied. It's like you're always hungry for more information. Your mind is always hungry for more. And that's why you end up starting a lot of projects and not finishing them. I should know. Okay, we're going to go to the likes and dislikes of the Geminis. So welcome everyone. Today we're describing the different zodiac signs and its practice for different adjectives and ways to describe people. So if you hear any words that you're unsure about, let me know and we can talk about them more. Here are the words. I have insatiable thirst. I might as well have a beer. Okay, yeah, I agree. Wait, JFE, what is your zodiac sign? I'm curious. What's your zodiac sign? Okay, so Geminis, the strengths of a Gemini. We are gentle, affectionate, curious, adaptable, have an ability to learn quickly and exchange ideas. The weaknesses, oh my God, I feel personally attacked here. The weaknesses are we are nervous, inconsistent, and indecisive. So those are pretty strong. Those are pretty strong weaknesses. Well, maybe not as, I think Scorpio's weakness of being manipulative and violent takes the cake. But Gemini's like music, books, magazines, chats with nearly everyone, short trips around the town. I agree with that. Geminis dislike being alone, being confined, and repetition and routine. Being confined means that you feel trapped in a space. Maybe a lot of people in the pandemic felt very confined, that you feel trapped. My wife is a Gemini and she has insatiable anger. You know what's actually hilarious? In the past, like years ago, I went to a therapist and I was feeling very judgmental. And I was telling my therapist, like, I feel very judgmental about a certain person or people. And my therapist said, you know what you should do is reframe that and start to, instead of saying that you're judging someone for something, say, well, I'm really curious about that. So like if I would see someone do something rude, I don't know, like interrupt someone, cut them in line, instead of saying like they're a bad person, why did they do that? My therapist wanted me to say, well, I'm really curious why did they interrupt? So I think that's kind of funny. We can use our curiosity in a lot of situations. Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen the Japanese anime where they talk about Zodiac, but it makes me curious. You should do the MBTI next. True. I think MBTI has also a lot of good descriptive words. Okay. We're going to go to Pisces, Capricorn, and then Aquarius. Okay. So Pisces, we call it Pisces in English, Pisces. I know that in Spanish it's like Pisces, but in English it's Pisces. Okay, so Pisces is if you are born between February 19th and March 20th. Remember, I'm repeating a lot the pronunciation of this word today, 20th. So here's the description. If you looked up the word psychic in the dictionary, there would definitely be a picture of Pisces next to it. Pisces is the most intuitive, sensitive, and empathetic sign of the entire zodiac. And that's because it's the last of the last. Okay, so because Aries is the first sign and like Pisces is the last. As the final sign, Pisces has absorbed every lesson, the joys and the pain, the hopes and the fears, learned by all of the other signs. It's symbolized by two fish swimming in opposite directions, representing the constant division of Pisces' attention between fantasy and reality. So there's like some overlap, I think, with the Scorpio, where it's like you're kind of involved in the like fantasy world too. Also, hello everyone. We are describing zodiac signs. We are talking about Pisces right now. Okay, so Pisces, the personality traits. A Pisces' strengths are you are compassionate, artistic, intuitive, gentle, wise, and musical. I think Bad Bunny is like Pisces sun, Pisces moon, like a triple Pisces or something. Someone can fact check me, but a lot of musicians are Pisces. Your weaknesses are you're fearful, overly trusting. So that's like the opposite of what we saw with the Scorpio, who are distrustful. Sad. You desire to escape reality. And you can be a victim or a martyr. Does anyone know what is a martyr? This is a good word here. What is a martyr? What does it mean if I say that someone is a martyr? A martyr. And that's a weird spelling. So what is a martyr? It has a Y in the word, a martyr. What does that mean if I say that someone is a martyr? Yeah, it's similar to a victim. As someone who sacrifices themselves to save others. Exactly. It does kind of sound like murder. Yeah, martyr. But I guess you need to open your mouth more on the... It's not the same as murder. So martyr, like my mouth is opening, martyr, and then murder, martyr. It's very similar. But the difference is the first vowel. Mur. It's the difference between far and fur. Like, you live far away from me. I'm wearing a fur coat. Martyr, murder. You guys all thought I said murder. Okay, that is the danger of the internet. Okay, so a martyr is a person who suffers greatly or dies because they refuse to give up their religious faith, political beliefs, or an important cause. So it could be like for another person. The word comes from an old Greek term that means witness. So that is martyr. And I guess like in a way this is a negative thing if you're overly self-sacrificing to your own detriment. That could be a bad thing. It's not like, oh, I'm so empathetic. I'm too much of an empath. Okay, the things that a Pisces likes are true. Like Jesus was a martyr, and I wouldn't say that, like, if we're talking about a religious leader that people, I would say maybe people can use the word martyr in a non-negative way as well. But if you have a friend who continues to like put themselves in positions of suffering, I would also maybe say you shouldn't be a martyr. I just got really severe deja vu. I feel like I've talked about this topic before in a very specific way. And also someone asked me at the same time, where are you? I feel like maybe a year ago I don't know, I just got a weird sensation of deja vu. In Arabic, witness and martyr have the same etymological root. Okay, that's interesting. Personality traits. Pisces likes being alone, love, sleeping, music, romance, swimming, spiritual themes. Pisces dislikes know-it-alls, being criticized, the past coming back to haunt them, and cruelty of any kind. This is a good deja vu as an English teacher's companion. Yeah, it's sometimes you find yourself in the exact same place. This is a good word, like if the past comes back to haunt you. If you think about a haunted house is a house that has a lot of ghosts and spirits that come and bother you. So if the past comes back to haunt you, the past comes and you can't get away from it. It imposes itself on you. And you're like, please stop bothering me, past. The past is haunting you. So that's something that Pisces do not like. Okay, the other ones that we had, someone said Capricorn and Aquarius. Okay, Capricorn. By the way, I don't know if any of you guys know about rising signs, your ascending sign. I'm a Capricorn rising, which I think is like externally people perceive you in that way. Like it's the part of yourself that others see more. Okay, Capricorn is if you were born between December 22nd and January 19th. I was going to make a joke and say, oh, like Jesus, but I know he wasn't actually born on Christmas, but it's kind of funny. Okay, so Capricorn, what is the most valuable resource? For Capricorns, the answer is clear. Time. Capricorn is climbing the mountain straight to the top and knows that patience, perseverance, and dedication are the only way to scale. Capricorn, the last earth sign of the Zodiac, it's the last earth sign. Okay, cool. Is represented by the sea goat, a mythological creature with the body of a goat and the tail of a fish. That's so weird to me. The body of a goat and the tail of a fish, the sea goat. Accordingly, Capricorns are skilled at navigating both the material and emotional realms. So I'm curious what you guys think about that explanation. And we keep seeing this word realms. I'm curious, does anyone know what it is? What is a realm? Related to what time of year Jesus was born, I was watching like a History Channel movie, and apparently it's like pretty accepted that he was probably not born close to Christmas. It was probably more like in the spring. But in Rome, they had Saturnalia, which was like the celebration of the winter solstice, which is like the 21st of December, very close. And so they had like the pagans celebrating this holiday, and then they had like the Roman Christians. And so they ended up kind of like the celebration of Christmas itself and that day being an important day was something that has not always been the case. Like it happened over time, like influenced by kind of combining the Christian and pagan important days together. So yeah, I'm sure that there are people that know a lot more about that than I do, but like the actual days that we celebrate holidays have changed over time. At least that's what the documentary I watched was talking about. It was like a cultural fusion. Okay, so what is a realm? Specifically when we talk about how the Capricorns are skilled at navigating both the material and emotional realms. Yeah, today in class we're talking about the etymology of martyrs. We're talking about Jesus. Yeah, a little bit off the rails, but I think that makes for a more memorable. Now we will all remember martyr versus murder, at least. So that's a good thing. What is a realm? Realm. And also, this is a weird word in terms of pronunciation, too. It's not realm, it's realm. Realm. That's a strange word. But I also think that happens when you repeat a word too many times. It starts to feel weird. So, what is a realm? I'll just read you guys the definition, because we've had this word a few times. So, a realm means a kingdom, country, or a specific area of study, activity, or interest. It can mean, I think in Spanish, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but like dominio could be like a good translation for this. It can describe a physical land ruled by a king or queen, or an abstract space like a field of knowledge. It's used a lot in fiction when talking about like different dimensions and like different worlds, like the physical realm, the spiritual realm, the different kingdoms of existence. So that is a realm. So looking at the personality traits of a Capricorn, comes from the same family as regamen and reg and rex in Latin. True. Yeah, exactly. Like regal, reg, rex, realm. These are all related words. That's a good observation. The name Regina, like Regina George. So personality traits. The strengths of a Capricorn are you are responsible, disciplined, you have good self-control, and you're good managers. Your weaknesses are you can be a know-it-all. This is a good phrase. I don't know if anyone here knows anyone who is a know-it-all. Remember, if you use this, you have to use the little hyphens, the dashes. A know-it-all. So you might be a know-it-all. Unforgiving. So a person who doesn't forgive others, you hold a grudge, basically, is unforgiving. Condescending. So kind of like looking down on other people. And expecting the worst. So maybe like a touch of pessimism. Now, your likes are family, tradition, music, understated status, quality craftsmanship. And your dislikes are, this is funny, if you're a Capricorn, it says that your dislikes are almost everything at some point. So you're kind of a hater, a little bit of a hater. The T-Rex was the king of dinosaurs. I never thought about that. So true. Yeah, Mean Girls reference. I'm running away from the millennial allegations, but they're chasing me down. It's a song. What is the song of Teddy Swims? He has a song called Know It All. Maybe he's a Capricorn and he doesn't like know-it-alls. No, that's a weakness. Maybe he's a Capricorn and he is a know-it-all. I think it was Pisces don't like know-it-alls, if I'm remembering correctly. Okay, the other one we were going to do was Aquarius. This one I didn't realize, but I have a student from Germany and she told me in Germany, like in German, they're called Aquaman or something, but in English, Aquarius. I'm a Capricorn and a singer and also a bit of a hater. Okay. My therapist that I mentioned earlier would tell you to turn that into insatiable curiosity. Tyrannosaurus Rex, bully king dinosaur. I like that you said it's a bully also. You almost described me. I'm a Capricorn, but I don't have all those weaknesses. That sounds like something a Capricorn would say. Okay, so an Aquarius. I always get the sense that Aquariuses, in the best way possible, are like kind of weirdos. So Aquarius, despite the aqua in its name, Aquarius is actually an air sign. Dun dun. So it might fool you. You might think, oh, Aquarius, that's, I don't know, Aquarius, that's a water sign because aqua, but actually it's not. It's an air sign. They are innovative, progressive, and shamelessly revolutionary. Okay, I like this word shamelessly. Aquarius is represented by the water bearer. Remember, so if you know the word born, like I was born in May or something like that, like I was born in the United States, the word bear and the word born are related. To bear a child means that you are like pregnant and carrying the child. And then we always use the passive form when we're talking about I was born. So to bear something is to carry something, a water bearer, the one who carries water. The mystical healer who bestows water or life upon the land. That is the Aquarius. Accordingly, Aquarius is the most humanitarian astrological sign. At the end of the day, Aquarius is dedicated to making the world a better place. I'm curious, do you guys agree that Aquarius is the most humanitarian? They're the most committed to making the world a better place. I'm thinking there's another word for this that comes to mind. I keep forgetting this word. Let me see. It's kind of like a synonym for humanitarian. Altruistic. I keep forgetting this word. Altruistic. Like if a person has these ideas where they're humanitarian and want to make the world a better place, they are altruistic. I would say an Aquarius is very passionate and sensible. Okay. We're going to see, maybe those words are included in the description of an Aquarius. So according to this website that I'm looking at, Ayn Rand loved this word. Okay. To quote Ayn Rand, altruistic personality traits. So the strengths are progressive, original, independent, and humanitarian. The weaknesses of an Aquarius are runs from emotional expression, temperamental, uncompromising, and aloof. This is an amazing word, aloof. Aloof. What is aloof? Does anyone know what that word means? What does it mean? Asparagus. Did I say asparagus instead of Aquarius? I probably did. What does it mean to be aloof? This is one of my favorite adjectives for describing people. Aloof. The things that in Aquarius, is it unaware? Not exactly. Not exactly unaware. Maybe they could be unaware, but aloof is more that I would say is more related to the way that they come across rather than their mental state. I don't know if that would be a good way to think about it, but yeah, it's more like you're distant. So imagine you go to a party with friends and there's a person there and they weren't really like mean to you. They didn't say anything mean, but they also were kind of distant. They acted like too cool for you and like they didn't really care about your existence. That person was aloof. So it's like, I don't feel like they did anything to me to say I don't like them, but they were not very friendly and I didn't really feel that they wanted to connect with me. They were kind of like too cool for school. That would be an aloof person. Aloof. So that's one possible weakness. Again, I feel like it depends on the person, but Aquarius likes you like fun with friends, risky business, fighting for causes, and intellectual conversations. My phone's dying. Okay, bye. That was very aloof of you to leave now. Just kidding. Okay, and the things that an Aquarius dislikes are limitations, broken promises, being lonely, and dull or boring situations. Dull, this is also a good word, that dull is like a synonym for boring. Dull or boring. Dull. And the pronunciation is kind of weird. It's not dul or doll, it's dull, dull, dull. Similar to seagull, dull. Similar to hull. Yes, the hull of a ship. Exactly. That's a good one. The hull of a ship. I am curious, do you identify with your zodiac sign? And maybe you can use a specific adjective or descriptive word to tell us what you identify with. Like, as a Gemini, I identify with insatiable curiosity and indecision. For sure, indecision. I don't know if there's something I honestly identify with everything of being a Gemini. I don't think that there's anything I don't identify with. But some of obviously some of the descriptions that we read were more negative, like Scorpios can be violent. So I'm sure that there are people that don't recognize or don't see themselves in some of the explanations that we read today. So also another one that we didn't talk about was the Chinese zodiac. And I don't know as much about that. I don't know if any of you are into the Chinese zodiac. Let me see. What is the Chinese zodiac of this year? Chinese zodiac of 2026. I don't know also like how old the Chinese one is versus the other zodiac, like the Hellenistic one. Okay, this year is the year of the fire horse. I was wrong. This year is the year of the fire horse, according to the Chinese zodiac. We have curiosity killed the cat. I am very curious about everything regarding my field. Okay. Do you feel like that can lead you to a negative place? I feel like for me, being curious is a very necessary thing, and it's a very positive thing. But if you get distracted, like, oh, and this, and this, and that, like if you don't have enough focus to contain your curiosity, that's where it can lead you into problems, like the cat being killed by its curiosity. I identify with some things, but something I always came across when talking about Capricorn is that we love to work, and I don't really relate to that. Yeah, that makes sense. I wonder if like some of these things, it says that you love to work, but I wonder if you could apply it to something else. Like if there's another area of life where you like to be productive, but like not specifically work. I don't know. Maybe it's too rigid of a description for some people to identify with. Because, yeah, I don't know about loving to work. I think a lot of people don't. Or they love to work so that they can have the lifestyle they want, or like for other reasons, not just work itself. It's a 12-year cycle. Okay, so we will not be in the year of a horse for another 12 years. Interesting. Can you say those words to describe your sign? Like to read the same words that I said before? Let me pull it up. Our strengths are we are gentle, and I'm a Gemini for anyone who recently joined. We are gentle, affectionate, curious, adaptable. We have an ability to learn quickly and exchange ideas. And our weaknesses, we have 3 important weaknesses. We are nervous, inconsistent, and indecisive. So in case any of you guys are Geminis, those are our descriptions. If you guys, okay, we have a couple of Sagittariuses here. I can read the personality traits of Sagittarius because I didn't read those. I kind of was just skipping around based on the signs people put in the chat. So if you are a Sagittarius, your strengths are you are generous, idealistic, and you have a great sense of humor. Your weaknesses are you promise more than you can deliver, you're very impatient, and you will say anything no matter how undiplomatic. So you don't really have a filter. I'm curious if you, as a Sagittarius, identify with that at all. A know-it-all person means you want to know the complete thing about something. No, a know-it-all is a negative quality. It means someone who thinks that they know everything and corrects people is a know-it-all. So a know-it-all is someone who is well, actually, and corrects others and thinks that they know everything. As a Sagittarius, I identify with freedom. I think know-it-all is someone who thinks they know everything. Yeah, exactly. But remember, Pluto is no longer a planet, so it changed everything. True. Oh my God. So the Zodiac is all wrong because Pluto's no longer a planet? That's unfortunate. I have a strong filter for social interactions. Definitely not me. Yeah, I have a friend who's a Sagittarius, and he is definitely an optimistic, free person with a great sense of humor. But I also think he's a little bit blunt. He doesn't have as much of a filter. Okay, I'm going to talk about Virgos really quick because, guys, both of my parents are Virgos. Both of my parents are Virgos, and that's kind of crazy. Let me see. But I also think a lot of my parents' friends are Virgos. I feel like for some reason, everyone born... Okay, thank you. I never know, whenever people talk about my audio, I get, flashbacks to it not working. Okay, thank you guys. I think a lot of people born in September, born in between 1960 and 1967 in the United States, there are so many Virgos of that decade. So you're a Virgo if you're born between August 23rd and September 22nd. Here the description says, you know the expression, if you want something done, ask a busy person? Well, that definitely is the Virgo anthem. Virgos are logical, practical, and systematic in their approach to life. Virgo is an earth sign historically represented by the goddess of wheat and agriculture, an association that speaks to Virgo's deep-rooted presence in the material world. This earth sign is a perfectionist at heart and isn't afraid to improve skills through diligent and consistent practice. Now, the adjectives for a Virgo, let me see, here we go. The adjectives for a Virgo. Your strengths. You are loyal, analytical, kind, hardworking, and practical. And your weaknesses are shyness, worry, overly critical of self and others, and all work, no play. So Virgos can be a little bit judgmental, apparently. I think that I identify more with all my integrated signs. True, yeah. So I think that we are all so much more complicated than just the description of one zodiac sign. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Unless you're I met someone who was a triple Leo and they were very intense energy. Okay. Well, I hope that all of you learned some interesting new vocabulary today. I kind of like sometimes not having text on the slide because I think it makes for good listening practice instead of always reading what I'm saying because you have to try to identify new words. So I will post this video on my page, and I hope all of you have a good rest of your weekend, and I will see you in my next live. Take care, everyone. I hope you have a good one. Thank you for joining me and sharing about your zodiac signs.